Welcome to the North American Strikers Academy. I'm a little familiar with this place. I feel like I've been here before. It's just a little nostalgic. We're in season 4, week 3. Today, I'm joined by Cloak Oak, collegiate legend, brawler
Hello.
extraordinaire. Thanks. I hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to be watching a couple matches. We have LLC versus Doggo.Dog, which I'm actually really excited for. Both these teams are somehow 0-2. I don't think anyone expected this, especially for LLC. I think people had a lot of high expectations for this team, but I don't know if they've been even playing with their starters every week. I know they're not playing with their starters today, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to this match. Any thoughts, Cloak Oak?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting that LLC is dropping in with a couple of subs, Barcode and Kilius, coming in for Luke and Hungry Boy, respectively. So, I mean, 2/3 of the LLC roster coming in with a little less familiarity, maybe, than they would typically have in this match. But, I mean, still 3 strong players. We're starting it off here on Taiko Temple, a notoriously chaotic map. And it is an explosive entrance and deadeye start. What do you think we can expect these teams to be constructing here from a gameplay standpoint?
Well, we didn't. If you look at it, like just glancing at the draft, not too much time to look at it that thoroughly. No team picked damage. Both teams banned like heavy damage characters, like being a little bit worried about it. But in the end, I'm actually really going to be keeping my eyes on this Juno pick. I think Juno is insane on this map, and with the Deadeye start, the core speed's going to be really fast right off the bat. So that's what I'm going to be watching out for. I think this comp of Now plus Rasmus is going to be weird, but there's a lot of weird things going on here. Like Kai goalie on this map, for example. I've seen it played before, but I've never been a huge fan of it. But we'll see if Big Gabe's going to be able to hold it down against the brawler legend that is Kilius, subbing in for LLC.
Yeah, well, and speaking of weird picks, we also have Switch opting for dash range on Asher, which some would say is a bit of a downgrade. And in fact, we will see the first goal there fall over to the LLC. Hungry Boy and Kilius just a little bit too strong in front of the net. Big Jeep unable to hold them back. And that'll be first point of the set. Starting off here strong with a topside kickoff. Big Jeep immediately going to lose a barrier to Hungry Boy's Now primary, but now taking it back up into the top pocket as Sloopin and Big Jeep desperately trying to ping-pong it back and forth and dribble it out of here. They are able to find that. Now sending it over to the pocket, but Barcode's Atlas primary will swiftly send it over. Now it's a power play in favor of the LLC. Core flip online for Hungry Boy. Kilius will be able to snag the second barrier, and suddenly a swift second goal up into the top of the corner of the net. Hungry Boy spinning the flip to get that.
Yes, 2 goals from Hungry Boy. I do think the big thing about this game is that all the members of LLC, even though there's 2 subs, they are generally seen, at least I would agree with this sentiment, that all 3 players are a little bit stronger than their counterparts. Maybe the one argument being Switch in the midfield should probably be stronger than Kilius Brawler, but Kilius is just going to be a solid player all around. But as we see here, Switch just kind of dismantles their whole defense, being that one strong member of the team. They keep trying to help out, but it's not going to really work out. But 2 barriers to none is going to be very good for a Doggo.Dog.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want any like strong character to be played by your strongest player on Taiko Temple, it's to have an Asher up front. That character is so strong here, able to really hold down the lanes. But when the ball gets out of the lanes like this, Hungry Boy and Kilius are able to put up quite the offense. It's all that Sloopin can do just to get it back to Switch SSB, who will find a goal. Barcode, out of abilities, trapped in the back of the goal box, will not be able to save that one. And here we have Doggo.Dog ensuring that they're not out of the set yet, hoping to bring this one back.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised to not see Big Geep on the Dubu. It's not the best pick on this map, in my opinion, but a lot of people think it's all right, and it's kind of the Big Geep signature pick. But instead of seeing the Kai, which is even less popular, being picked up instead, is going to mean Big Geep's got to prove that this pick's okay on this map and have to deal with Kilius and Hungry Boy, 2 fast characters, which, although Kai does have the speed to compete with, not sure if the defensive abilities will be there, but great passes blocked from Big Geep is going to lead to a barrier that should be taken here from Switch.
Yeah, well played there from Doggo.Dog, securing them a second goal. This Asher dash range doesn't seem to be hindering Switch too much, finding some interesting uses there, playing far back in the barrier, but then rushing up to stun Barcode. Definitely an interesting tweak to the typical Asher playstyle, but not too different from what the character is typically trying to accomplish. A strong kickoff win here for the LLC will grab them their first barrier, but core flips coming online for both midfielders respectively. Sloopin will have to use his here to ensure that it gets cleared, but Hungry Boy is there to catch it with a flip of their own. Big Jeep now, holding down the barrier, uses the Giga Blast, and Barcode will be unable to save that barrier as Hungry Boy finds himself staggered now. Sloopin trying to feed it into pocket, but Kiliast holding down the midfield strong in the absence of the now. All three flips come out there, but it's an own barrier grab from Barcode, and now both goals are open for both of these teams. And in a 2-2 fifth point conclusion to the set is going to be a long and drawn-out back and forth as these teams try to find the upper hand. Hungry Boy desperately ping-ponging here against Big Jeep, but unable to find purchase in the defense. Switch SSB walking all the way back, but Big Jeep walking forward with this high speed, attempting to find a hole in the defense. Barcode and Hungry Boy will be holding strong, though, as the Big Jeep attempts to grab a core flip here and secure the final point. Sloopin now with that core speed coming out, but it's not going to be enough. Hungry Boy manages to tuck it in the top of the net, and that'll be the first set falling over to Doggo.Dog. Or sorry, is that LLC? I've already gotten them mixed up.
Yeah, LLC did take the first one, and Monumentalist on now is their reward. Pretty disgusting. It's just part of why this character is seen to be so strong by so many people on every map. Because minus maybe Oni Village, where it's a little bit less popular, but even then, not that bad of a pick. Is this Monumentalist that's just going to be able to take over the game. And then all the way, we see Hotshot fall down to Juno as well, who now with that Deadeye is going to be getting red core speed this whole game. So, although that Monumentalist is going to be a bit of a problem, Hungry Boy already being a really strong scoring force for this team as the midfielder, Sloopin's going to be able to bring that right back with this Hotshot. So, that's the thing to keep your eyes on heading into this match as we, both teams trade one barrier.
Another fascinating outcome of that draft was Rapid Fire falling all the way down to Switch, last pick in the draft. Certainly one of the more valuable things that you could have picked up, but Kiliast opted for Unstoppable instead. This Monumentalist now is already making quite a difference as the lanes are being held down strong. The good strike shot from Barcode will make sure that that dastardly core speed is unable to snag the final barrier. LLC holding strong here as a passing play between Kiliast and Hungry Boy will snag their first goal. They're looking strong here. Even on Tycho Temple, where Rasmus typically is not considered the strongest of forward picks, Kiliast and Hungry Boy using that synergy to their advantage and pulling out a first point.
Yeah, that's like the thing is that Kiliast and Hungry Boy, even though they don't play on the same team together, they are just both really, really strong individual players that know how to play the game really well. They know how to pass to each other. They're both have played midfield even. Kiliast more of a midfielder right now than anything, even on this brawler role. The Rasmus kind of suits that kind of play style too as a brawler midfielder that's forced to play brawler. So we see those passes coming through a lot of the time. Kiliast knowing how to block certain things, knows how to play this character specifically, but it's going to be Hungry Boy once again putting it in over the brawler. So I think that's I don't know how many goals is that from Hungry Boy. That's at least 4, maybe 5 of the 6 they've gone, or no, it's at least 3, maybe 4. So
yeah, Kiliast did put in the first point of this set at the very least, and I mean it's gonna be tough here, especially with a double healer comp on the board. Even though we just saw Hungry Boy get staggered there briefly, already back up to almost full stagger and immediately going to grab a barrier. Doesn't even have to use that evade for defense, and instead will be able to open up the goal box. Big Jeep desperately trying to show off this high goalie pick, but still struggling to keep those barriers up as Kiliast and Hungry Boy are just putting on such a dominant offense here. Switch burns the core flip there, trying to bring back this point for Doggo.Dog. It's going to be a long ways, though, as that barrier is still up, but the core speed from Sloopin Blobos send that core ablazing, and Switch will find a KO at the top, meaning that we are now on a power play in favor of Doggo.Dog. Sloopin, course to have core flip come online, but we'll have to evade the Atlas primary there. Instead, Hungry Boy manages to come back, and just in time, barely manages to save the bottom of the goal as Big Jeep now back on the defense, fending off Killiest. Core flip comes out from Barcode, and Hungry Boy desperately trying to feed it through the bottom barrier, but it's Switch who managed to press it through the astral projection and secure the first goal for Doggo.Dog. This is looking very familiar to our previous set.
It is, but the same problems are also being had as in the previous set, which is that Switch, especially on the open goal so far, has had a lot of trouble trying to get through Barcode. Can't use the space as well as Rasmus has been able to, and Hungry Boy specifically with Killiest on the Rasmus, just being able to find these passing plays and such. They really need to find a way to get Sloopin in the game, but with both barriers gone, they might not even have that chance.
Yeah, the defense is really, really struggling here with this Monumentalist now. I mean, just looking at the level difference. Hungry Boy, the only level 7 in the lobby, just having so much influence over the midfield here. Sloopin and Switch will manage to take down the goal barriers themselves here, and suddenly these teams are on a little bit more even ground. Switch having the core flip come online, but it's another now ability that will snag a barrier, a goal, and a set for the LLC, bringing them up to a 2-set lead. Hungry Boy once again rewarded with first pick in this draft, and oh boy, what a draft this is.
Yeah, gonna be able to pick up, Charlie Catalyst, because it's just so OP, but a lot of things to take here. You probably want the dash range now on Juno. You should probably just take aerials because it's the last part of your kit you need. Size is obviously going to be really good on Asher and maybe give you a chance to start beating Barcode in these 1v1s a little bit more often. But Twin Drive will fall to Atlas in that case, which means you're playing against a Twin Drive Primetime Atlas, and it's the best Atlas to ever do it. So if you're going to be able to break through this guy, that is going to be a Herculean task, but we'll have to see if the new offensive capabilities of the size and the dash range from this forward duo of Doggo.Dog will be enough to break through. But honestly, it seems a little unlikely at this point. His builds are looking so strong for LLC, so it's going to be some crazy plays from Doggo to win this one.
It definitely looks like Doggo is playing here for the long game. They want to hold this to overtime and take advantage of the team player that Big Jeep has and Sloopin's core speed awakenings. But, they're proving right now they don't even need to go into overtime. A swift passing play after a double barrier grab will ensure that Sloopin and Switch snag a first goal, and they're looking strong coming out here in this first set. Those pickups might have been the difference maker.
Yeah, now Juno is God. Juno can 1v9 this game solo, to be honest. The question is whether Sloopin can do it. Specifically, Sloopin, who's also, I think, is a national caliber player. Last season, we saw him come in for Quest Esports in the goalie position, and I put up some okay performances in his off role, but now that he's on his main role in NASA, he's been able to prove himself a little bit more. And even though they've lost both their games so far, Sloopin is a player I've always had my eyes on, and being able to cover the whole map with this dash range and just threaten red core from any slime anywhere on the map is going to be really, really hard to deal with. But it's also really, really hard to deal with the core on your line versus a Hungry Boy with Flip who's going to get a KO into the goal, and we're seeing a little bit more of that LLC dominance.
Yeah, it definitely is a game of playing to overtime. I think if you're Doggo.Dog, I do see Sloopin and Switch hanging back a little more on defense, contributing, to this sort of triple goalie strat almost, really piling up on the core. And if they can fend off the pressure for a full minute, they will see a huge advantage come their way. Speaking of advantages, we do have a slight energy advantage online for Doggo.Dog. We'll see how long it takes for their flips to come out. But Hungry Boy with that Catalyst, it won't be too long before they have a flip of their own coming their way.
Oh,
what KO from Switch will ensure that Doggo.Dog are able to stay in this point a little while longer. Barcode stays
Ooh.
strong there, but the slime manages to grab the barrier, and suddenly it's another open net for both of these teams.
Yeah, we're almost hitting overtime here. So like you said, that team player is going to come online in a big way, but Sloopin might just score before that, but Switch isn't able to put that in off that, but the offense is still on the side of Doggo.Dog. They are just able to keep the core up. They've really, Achilles is going to have a hard time finding an opportunity to score, but now that Hungry Boy's up, it's going to become really hard. Flip used on nothing, but now it's Kilius who needs to find a way to score it, but instead it's going to be cleared back, and now the team player is finally online. Switch of Speed gets the core, is going to try and hit it down to Sloopin, who also has that same insane core speed in overtime, but once again, Hungry Boy with Flip. It's been scary this whole game, but not this time, and now Switch has got it in the corner, but Barcode is well equipped to deal with corner offense as on the Atlas with a million abilities. You're going to need to find a way to break through an ability because Barcode's pretty much guaranteed to have one at this point. But Kilius is going to help on defense with that hook to keep that one off. And now it's Big Geep who's looking for that team player. Hasn't really had many opportunities to use it so far, but doesn't even get the proc there. His game's broken. Please fix. But the Big Geep needs to pass it to Sloopin, who tries to. It almost works out. But just no one scoring, no one finding a good opportunity. Barcode feels pretty immovable, but the core is just stuck on that side. Hungry Boy gets flipped again, but it's not going to go in. But the strike war from Kilius is what's going to be to finally finish it off. But it's pretty crazy in that one overtime. Hungry Boy flipped twice. I mean, Catalyst, Monumentalist, this build is looking a little weak.
Yeah, I do want to shout out Kilius, though. You pointed out that Kilius was helping out a lot on defense. Definitely unconventional for someone in the brawler role. We know that Kilius is usually finding himself in the midfield, though. What a double barrier from Hungry Boy, by the way. But just having the peace of mind to realize, hey, Barcode doesn't really have the tools to deal with all this core speed coming our way. So you know what? I'll go ahead and walk back and help out on defense a little bit. Now he's going to get to help out on offense. The core flip comes out, but it's Sloop and Slime that'll manage to save the day for Doggo.Dog. Big Geep attempting to walk up, control the midfield a little more, and will manage to find a barrier off of it. The core flip goes wide for Switch and unable to find a goal off of it. But it won't be too long before they get another offense with these Juno Slimes sending the core so fast, but the core floats past! Barcode manages to float it all the way to the enemy side and claim the first game in a swift 3-0 from LLC. Well played.
Okay, maybe got a little bit of that dead eye on the Atlas value. Maybe went a little bit faster than it normally would. Who knows? But pretty tough game to come back from if you're Doggo.Dog. Just there were some moments that looked really good, but most of the game just felt like it was Kilius and Hungry Boy and Barcode holding it down. Hungry Boy winning midfield. Kilius kind of also winning midfield. And then Kilius and Hungry Boy creating those 2v1 opportunities versus Big Geep. I do think... I do like the draft of Juno, especially. I was really happy to see that. But didn't really have that kind of overpowering presence that you need it to have in order to win a game where you have a Kai goalie on this map that just is not going to be as good as holding it down. So you need to be getting value from being offensive, but Kai didn't really provide much of that either. So just kind of, even though Big Geep did like a pretty good job of holding it down in a lot of cases, it's just a hard pick to justify, and it wasn't justified this match specifically. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that the Juno Kai duo didn't really have the tools to match up in the midfield. And as a result, the Kai wasn't able to walk up, which is what you eventually want to do with Kai. You want to essentially play second midfielder. And so it was unfortunate that draft didn't work out the way that Doggo.Dog had planned it. But maybe we'll get to see a little bit of a different story told moving into game 2.
Yep, we will be heading to the test chamber, the new addition to the map pool of the Big Four, quote unquote. I do think it deserves a spot. It makes a lot of sense. It's the most heavily picked map out. I think it might be above Oni Village even in Nassau so far. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's like the top 3 most picked map right now. It plays pretty similar to Atlas Lab and Night Market. It's kind of a mix of the two in a way, where it has like these small lanes, but a lot of ways to make damage pretty useful, like you can on AtLab. So a lot of different options on how you can play the map. You can try to play for core control, you can try to play for damage, but I don't really expect either of these teams to be attempting to play for damage very hard. It's not really their style. It's not Barcode's style to pick a damage character. It's not Big Jeep's style to play a damage character, both of them being melee goalie players. Expecting to see more of that in our next draft. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I definitely like getting to just see some teams that are laid back playing for core control. Sometimes it's nice to just watch a little bit of air hockey without the foot brawly aspect of it. So yeah, getting to see these teams match up for midfield control and core possession. It's a little bit of a different game than we typically see in this KO meta that seems to be ruling the game as of late.
Yeah, kind of. It felt like it definitely. I think damage is probably the strongest right now, but we don't see like EKC play it as much. They're starting to bring it back, but it's been a big mix so far, at least in NASA. I haven't really seen the NASA meta right now. It's actually really interesting. I was looking at the win rates, and like for example, Kazan has a negative win rate in NASA, but a very positive win rate in NASA, where and Mako in both has a pretty big presence, but has been kind of dominating Nassel. It was for at least the first 2 weeks. This last week, I saw Mako get defeated a few times, but Mako being not really a damage character, but being able to kind of take control of the meta of for teams at least that can't pilot damage, it kind of feels like, and even as a possible counter to damage is something that's interesting. But neither of these teams probably looking to pick Mako. Instead, we're going to see Dog picking that Dubu and banning that Atlas, which actually is going to leave Barcode with a limited amount to pick from, because I think Barcode plays Asher, so maybe that Asher pick is a flex, or
I
maybe
can confirm
it's
Barcode does in fact play Asher.
yeah. There we go. It's I know Barcode doesn't like Mako though, so that's why we don't see the Mako pick. Mako era X would have been a little weak this game, I think, but let's everyone see the Asher era X, which is kind of the next best thing when you want an era X comp. But on the other hand, Kazan being picked up for Dog, a very strong character, does have the ability to score on melee goalies very well. There's a lot of ways of getting around them, which is kind of that goal. But Era X and Dubu is also generally seen as pretty good for X. You can kind of sit on him for a lot of the game. I don't think it's terrible for Dubu. Actually, I played this matchup yesterday versus Kilius, who played in Nassel yesterday for Lob City. So this also might actually be one of the last few games Kilius can play of NASA if he continues to play in Nassel, which is kind of interesting to think about. Is that this is just a Nassel player playing off role in NASA, if you ask me. But we'll see.
Do
Looking
you think
forward to
that
this match.
anyone is going to be going for stagger scaling this game, going off of the stacks on stacks pickup here?
Highly unlikely.
Yeah, I don't see
Um,
any reason to be concerned for losing the stacks, and I mean peak doesn't even really start to rival the amount of speed that you get from stacks unless you get a full stagger Exodia on a high stagger character, right?
yeah, pretty much. You
Um,
should never be dying on blue side this game unless you get hit by like Kazan open primary in a weird spot, which is kind of up to you to not get cut out for. I think X is more likely, especially with an era on the team, to find random KOs, which is a bit scarier. Hungry Boy hovering to X, like, can I play, guys? But nah, forced to play his main role, play that era midfield, help kitten this Kilius guy, who I haven't seen the X from that much. That's going to be interesting. Rasmus would have been like a very fair pick here, but instead just wants to play X, which I respect. And I get that. And we actually see 3 peak performance takes: Switch, Sloopin, and Kilius. So the stagger is nice on these characters for sure, but we'll have to see if it's actually works out well, especially X. If X gets the second Awakening, Stagger Awakening, then you just kind of become God and unkillable. and can do whatever you want. And when you can't kill X, that's when he's the scariest. So keep your eyes out for that stagger scaling, but the stacks on Hungry Boy might just allow him to take over midfield.
Yeah, I have to admit, I'm especially surprised that Sloopin didn't opt for stacks, because you can just build up those stacks so quickly on now. I mean, it's almost like the scaling time for the Awakening doesn't even exist. You can usually get it in a single point.
Yeah.
So definitely a surprise to me in terms of that draft. Switch here desperately trying to hit level 2 and unlock the other half of his kit. Instead, will lose a barrier, unfortunately, as the core floats through. Achilles and Hungry Boy waiting hungrily on the other side.
Yeah, hungrily boy.
Hungrily boy?
Hungrily boy. This has to play this era. I don't really know what Hungry Boy likes, but I know Hungry Boy likes playing Atlas midfield. But I don't think we're going to be seeing that anytime soon. But Achilles has flipped now. Going to try to get it in front in the middle here, but doesn't even need it. Just strikes air and then strikes the core straight into the net. Not really covered by anything. Overtime just hit, so hit it a little bit harder if that X Maximus as well. And now you're in a really scary spot. The energy advantage is definitely on the side of LLC. So that's going to be probably both bears taken, but good hold from Big Jeep. Now up to switch up the speed of Cook. There's a lot of things Kazan can do on this map specifically. When the core moves really fast, the Kazan hook becomes really strong, but it doesn't really matter if you're losing midfield, because the opponent has 2 midfielders and one of them has stacks, which is already looking to possibly be a bit of a problem. Although, yeah, there we go. Achilles hitting it right in. Kind of talked over that one, but actually, I'm going to keep track of this. I want to see at what stacks does Hungry Boy become faster than Sloopin. Because right now, they're about even, as long as neither of them have any buffs like Slick Kicks or anything. They're both at 500, and I was at 100 stacks, like 128 stacks. They're both at 500 speed. So Peak has actually been better, or has made the faster character for the majority of the set so far, and it just hasn't mattered because of Era X just dominating early on the game, despite being a scaling composition.
Yeah, it's certainly a really good position to be in as Era X. You kind of expect to lose the first set, maybe 2 sets, but here we have Achilles and Hungry Boy coming out strong with a 2-point lead. They are a little bit more on the defensive side on this game, which is unusual because Era X usually loves to play in these little lanes and take advantage of the constricted spaces. That being said, we will see Switch and Sloopin now grabbing barriers of their own, trading back and forth across the map. And the energy advantage is, for once, in the hands of Doggo.Dog, but not the player advantage, as the numbers go into favor of Achilles and Hungry Boy with a KO, and suddenly it's Big Jeep back against the wall, unable to make the save.
I was about to say at least Sloopin didn't lose his stacks, but it doesn't matter as we hit the next set. It's going to be actually everyone else losing their stacks. But now on this new draft, Might of the Colossus, just kind of an insane awakening on X. You get a little bit more size from your ult, but you're also getting it from the Era Beam. So that damage number, that power number is about to go up real high. With Rampage off the table, though, there's only recovery drain left to keep that up. But we'll see if this Among Titans is taken. And it is, so we get that combo immediately. So X getting even a little bit more size. It's going to be pretty disgusting. We're not going to see the damage being taken. That's not really this team's goal. We're not going to, like, for heavy impact to be taken. Oops, I hit a button that swaps sides. But Hungry Boy, Twitch SSB getting that Rampage is a way for them to win. If Switch can get just absolutely huge, then can probably get around Barcode a little bit easier and find a way back into this game. But a pretty rough first set against Era X.
Yeah, keep an eye on those barriers every time Switch is grabbing one of them, regardless of whether or not they take the point. That's a win in the book of Doggo.Dog, because it means that Switch gets to get a little bit bigger, a little bit more of a threat. He'll manage to snag one right there, but not able to grab the second one. The bouncy castle will send the core somewhere I don't think anyone was expecting, down into the bottom of Big Jeep's net, giving another first point. And Doggo.Dog have been unable to score a single point this game so far. They have a lot of catching up to do if they want to bring this series back.
Yeah, right now, X is at that point of the game where the primary just takes up the entire map, even without that center orb being taken. It's just so much space. There's really no way you can get around Kilius at this point. You can only get right through. But X is also pretty good at dealing with that with ult and secondary, so there's pretty much good luck dealing with X if you don't have a way to kill him, and this team does not right now. But we see a dash core flip from Barcode. Not sure if it was on purpose or not, but it worked out either way. But Barrier going to be taken finally, and then Sloop in and Swish got a good combo going. And there's a goal. That's the plays they need. They get a lot of hit strike boxes out from Sloop in, and Switch even throws the hook out plus strike. That's a way to get through Asher, which has been generally a problem for them in both not only this game but the last one, is finding a way through Barcode. If you can find a way around, then that's pretty chill, but they also haven't been able to do that, so there's some way to get there.
It looks like that last point Barcode was just forced to use a lot of tools very, very early on in the point to get them off of him, and as soon as he was out of those tools, it was very, very easy for Sloop and Switch to collapse with a goalie with no abilities. But, I mean, Big Jeep having to use a lot of resources here, too. Barriers went down incredibly early, and the goal will be found early as well. Kilius and Hungry Boy, I mean, finding plenty of points on map variants where Era X are typically not favored, and then just dominating on the ones where they are. Really the position that you want to see if you're the LLC. Switch, though, and Sloopin attempting to bring this back. It seems like Switch is not getting nearly enough core control and will actually get KO'd there by Kilius. This massive amount of power coming out from this Might of the Colossus X is going to be just a little bit too much to handle. And this power play is going to find a barrier after a lot of abilities need to be burned by Big Jeep. And it'll be another power play here for the LLC. They're just finding kill after kill onto Switch, who can't seem to stay alive. Neither can the barriers, as the goal is open once more. LLC looking to claim their second set in record time. Only one goal to Doggo.Dog's name, and LLC is hoping to prevent them from grabbing a single other one. Barcode not having to use too much, as the defense just isn't needed to be used a whole lot. But Sloopin and Switch are able to keep up the offense here, looking to grab the second barrier. The Soup comes up from behind to support, but the pass is caught by Kilius and sent back to Big Jeep. Sloopin walking up with core flip will get pushed away, but it doesn't matter. The core goes wide, and that poke from Kazan will score and tie up the set in, or not necessarily in favor, but tied up for Doggo.Dog, showing them that they're hoping to bring this home and not let this Era X run away with the scaling.
Yeah, they're making it work. Also, a little update on that speed thing. Right now, Hungry Boy has max stacks, which grants him about 130 more speed than Sloopin has with just Peak, but that's a double as a KO, and if both barriers taken, now Kilius is there to try to just score this, and it's going to be Hungry Boy. He's covering the other end. Big Eep doesn't have anything to cover the whole gold box with the mom boots, no strike shot or anything, so just gonna end up going in, and what was going to be a close set and a possible way for Doggo.Dog to come back into this game is just immediately snuffed out, and now the option of quick strikes is up for this X, which is really not what you want to see.
Also here, though.
Based
float back.
Based quick strikes take says, I don't care that you get Monumentalist now. I don't care how strong this pick is. If you take it, that means we get good stuff as well. You get the prime time on Era now to make this X bigger. You have more core control from this quick strikes as well. Offensive core control too, which is what's really, really important. Is that like X is just going to be able to tear through everyone now. Team player, we talked about how it can be really good last game, but they never really able to make it that good last game, which kind of questions if they'll really be able to make it as good this game. The melee goalie should be a little bit better at getting to overtime instead of Kai, but I'm hesitant to put on all my points in that. But on this map again, we do see in general so far this game, this map specifically, Project whatever it's called, the Atlas one, is it's usually stronger for the side of Doggo.Dog, but it's gonna be Hungry Boy who flips it in.
Yeah, that was a surprising burst of offense there from Kilius and Hungry Boy. Managed to grab, I believe, their first point on that map. I think it's been taken all the other times by Doggo.dog, just as you said. But, I mean, they're starting off strong in this point as well, hoping to bring it home on this variant, but Big Jeep is going to pay with a lot of blood in those Obscura zones. Kilius now chasing down for the KO as Sloopin and Switch do manage to keep up the offense, but, I mean, when your goalie has to walk out of position to stay alive, it's going to give Kilius a lot of opportunities to grab barriers as soon as it floats back, which means that Hungry Boy and Kilius are now able to build up an offense after all the tools are used up, but Hungry Boy will get a little too greedy, pay for his life, and now Switch and Sloopin back on the power play. Kilius, the menacing figure of X, manages to paint the walls of the arena with the blood of Switch SSB once more. How many times has this guy died this game, leading to another goal in favor of the LLC, and suddenly they're on series point.
Yeah, we're starting to see why Switch and Sloopin might have not wanted to take stacks. We did see Hungry Boy actually get his stacks reset, which could be a big thing, but it's not looking to be that big of a deal. We'll have to see if Switch can find a way to take over this game. It does feel like it's the only really way from the win, unless Sloopin can make this Monumentalist now really show its strength, but so far it's been forced to play defense. Actually own barriering instead of anything else happening. Has this flip to possibly get a barrier, a second barrier, hopefully. But right now it's just Kilius and Hungry Boy just sprinting through this team.
Yeah, it really doesn't seem like there's too much that Doggo.dog can do here. The goal opens up. Big Jeep has already expended all of the cooldowns, just attempting to keep the barriers alive. Barcode actually walks all the way up to support the team on offense here. Plenty of speed with the stacks popping off all the way. The flip comes out from Big Jeep, and now that is truly a Bear Dubu. I believe that there's just a secondary to his name, trying desperately to keep it alive here. Manages to save it. The now Dorito will send it down to the bottom, but this bouncy house has other ideas, as in overtime, the core goes absolutely haywire. There's a small chance here for Doggo.dog to bring it back, but it's going to be a lot. Kilius pops the X ult, not able to grab anything with it, but more or less just antagonizing Switch. So many close calls here. Big Jeep just snagging the bottom of the goal box over and over again, but it's just one more strike from Hungry Boy. Big Jeep cannot make it there. Secures the match, secures the series, and the LLC will take this in a runaway 6-0 sweep.
Wow. LLC looking like they're supposed to, you know, even though they are not at all looking like they're supposed to with 2 subs in. This was kind of the dominance I expected from this team to have in NASA. Although they lost the Plink Plonk and Pass, I don't really know who's playing in those games or if there were substitutes or what happened. But LLC's supposed to, honestly, what I think in, if not everyone's eyes, the favorite to win NASA. Finally showing off their strength one way or another. Kilius, this might be the debut of Kilius Brawler in NASA/Nassel. I could be wrong, but I don't believe he's ever played this role before. So getting 100% win rate in NASA on on Brawler. Congratulations to Kilius on that, I believe. But Barcode just proving once again that this guy still has it in him to just compete and just be really, really good and really, really hard to get through, even if that Atlas band has picked up this Asher pick in return. And Hungry Boy, just in general, just a really solid player, just super solid player. It's a reason why Bang Bang has picked up Hungry Boy as a substitute player, along with Switch SSB from the other team, who had some moments as well. But yeah, hopefully Doggo.dog can find some ways to come back from this 0-3 start. It's pretty rough to start 0-3 and then still, like, you can still make it on playoffs for sure, but you're just on a knife's edge from here. So going to have to win a lot of probably hard games Still dog, haven't played like PLX, so that's going to be
Plenty
a
of
pretty
other
critical match in the
opportunities
future. But yeah,
to
there are a
show
lot of other
off why
teams.
they're in the North American Strikers Academy.
True, true. But that'll be it from us from now. But there will be one more match. Don't go anywhere. There'll be a named team versus the Fools coming up next. We are back. It is a named team versus the Fools. We will see if they are truly foolish or if they are going to be able to beat an EU player and Hamster Quest on the goalie role, who he actually has been practicing a lot and looking fairly good on. But it is going to be a bit tough, I think. It's going to be a bit tough for a named team. The Fools have kind of been doing really well lately, so I'm looking forward to see if they can keep up that streak or if a named team can kind of pull something off here. What any thoughts on this matchup? Cloak Oak.
Yeah, I mean, I just think there's a lot of exciting players to look at. Like, you can't go wrong with hopefully getting some Luna Chaos from General Twee. Really excited to see Coin and Zoro. I'm familiar with them from Collegiate. Fantastic players. Vins is kind of like the dark horse of the midfield, in my opinion. Really strong presence there. So just a lot of fun people, honestly. This is looking awfully familiar. Stack's peak start on Clarion Court. Is that outdated information, or is that actually what we're looking at?
I have a
Holy
feeling.
crap.
I think it's real. I guess this is just, hey, maybe this has happened before. Odyssey Studios, someone tripped over a wire, and maybe we're getting a lot of Stacks peak. I'm kind of down. It's interesting. Stack starts can get pretty hectic, but this time we unsurprisingly see everyone take Stacks. Also, I did say like I kind of see named team as the underdogs, but when I talked to PLX after they played them, they said that they were really good, and they thought they were really good, and they also were able to beat. I think they beat a team last week. I think it was Chatting or something. I think it was Chatting, which is also like a pretty good team. So somehow this team's making it work on the 130 ping brawler. Just Zoe, kind of in weeklies and stuff, it's also shown to be a bit of a beast, but so far it's going to be the Fools who are taking a little bit of control.
Yeah, certainly. The Fools were surprisingly able to find two barriers, even though Twee and Zoe were putting up quite the offense there at the start of the set. Twee's actually looking quite low here. We'll take a step back from the action for a second as Coin tries to dribble up the midfield, maybe trying to collect a core flip here. Big fan of the Rasmus pickup from Hamster Quest, but isn't able to quite hold back the core in the midfield. And the core flip will be sent to the top of the goal box by Vins. Fantastic angle there.
Yeah, that's ex-Solo Q top 10 player Vens. Kind of had an interesting route. I don't know them very well, but has generally just been like near the top. There's always been like a top player, but here we see Vens and NASA doing some good things with a pretty insane angle, and hoping to see more of that and plays like that coming out of Vens. But the Estelle has been a very popular pick. It's been said to have a lot of power in general. I actually really like it on this stack start because you already have speed, so playing the speed character doesn't become as strong since you already have that speed from stack. So playing a character like Estelle kind of could possibly grant you more value. So as long as Vens can keep up the scoring, especially with the abilities, then it's going to be good stuff, things coming. But now it's Hamster Quest with Flip and Zoro with Flip. So these barriers should be able to be defended for a while, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm liking how much mobility the Fools have here. Playing three incredibly fast characters and able to put up the flurry of strikes there as a result that will find them a second goal. I mean, you have a stacks on stacks start, but you also have two characters with some of the best dashes in the game. And then, of course, Kai has a fantastic speed boost to his name, as well as one of the fastest base speeds in the roster. So just a lot of mobility coming out here, but mobility can't save you against own barriers, and Zoro will grab one right there.
Yeah, Zoro honestly hasn't had to do much this game. This is the only one on the team without max stacks right now. Really just doesn't even need to hit the core that much, but even Zoe with the size, the dash punch is not going to be able to get that barrier. So kind of a little bit of a reset popping in. Coin has his flip, is probably going to grab barrier, and is possibly going to be able to grab the goal with this flip in a bit, but it's really up to Twee and Zoe here to kind of find something, but it's looking really unlikely. Coin flips it in, and that's a very fast set one, going for the side of the Fools.
Just a really smart play by Coin there, baiting the hook in the bottom of the goal box and forcing Hamster Quest into a really unfavorable position.
Yeah, true. And now you get Aerials probably, unless you want prime time or something, or you want like stagger to keep your stacks. But there's really no damage threat from the other team other than Rasmus. The Era is kind of an interesting pick. I don't know how much value you're going to get out of it with a 130 ping Juliet, but maybe we just haven't seen the Beast awaken yet. So looking forward to any possibilities of that. We see Adrenaline Rush denied from Julie, pretty much one of their only win conditions. But instead we get the next best thing, which is by a fair amount, but Prize Fighter. If Julie can get a Dash Punch KO, then that just makes the next Dash Punch KO even easier. And you can kind of take over a game if this Prize Fighter is good up, but Vens is going to evade the first Dash Punch. So off to a good start once again for the Fools.
Well, and potentially getting these KOs is not only high value because you get prize fighter stacks out of it, but you also get to eliminate the stacks on stacks of the enemy team. So I think that prioritizing a lot of KOs is going to be very valuable. Vins is going to manage to find a sneaky one right there onto General Twee on the bottom with the Quangle. And they're not going to be able to find too much out of this power play, but at the very least, Twee is now at the lowest stacks on stacks number of anyone in this lobby.
Yep, and then going to deal with that, which is going to be hard. That's who I view as the strongest player on this team. One of the strongest players in the league, I would say. I've played with this guy before. I think he's really crazy at the midfield. But if they can get this KO on the coin after getting this barrier, I think he's going to look a lot better for the side of a named team. But Coin has those extra evades. He's going to be able to get this orb, has enough evades to deal with anything else that comes his way. So it's pretty much back to just trying to search for a goal or a dash punch at this point. But it's once again Twee who's getting bullied by all these abilities and might get KO'd once again. Has to go all the way back for the orb.
Yeah, Zoe attempting to put up some pressure in the goal box, but the dash punch goes wide. It's not going to matter too much. Twee manages to sneak it past the barrage there and will claim the first point of the set in favor of a named team. Now kicking off point 2 with a slight energy advantage in favor of a named team. Really good position for them to be in here.
Yeah, looking at this Rasmus goalie pick, I've seen it's gained a lot of favor on this map too, specifically. A lot of people just like playing it. And I mean, we see a pretty good hold from Hamster Quest, but I kind of feel like it's almost in spite of the pick instead of due to the strength of it. It's just kind of, I feel like it's good if your team wants to KO them. As Pauldron's Rasmus tends to do a lot of damage. Like, look at Vens right now. It helps that Vens was in the purple to take extra damage, but Hamster, like, this character can actually do quite a lot of damage. Has a lot of awakenings to amp up that damage as Rasmus goalie, but when you're playing with Era Julie, that's not really your team's goal. So I don't really think it fits into this comp very well, but at the same time, it's probably a really big comfort pick. And it's been able to hold it down so far, so we'll see if it can, if it's going to be the Fools just dealing with the onslaught of attacks, or if it's going to be go heading into overtime, a different story.
Yeah, I mean, they're putting out plenty of damage right now, even though that might not be their primary goal. We do see pretty much one member of the Fools constantly being staggered. Currently, it's Coin that's on the chopping block. Going to have to play in the middle of the map, but that's not going to help much against Rasmus Hook. A fantastic kill confirm, especially with the Pauldron's pickup. That gives that little boost of power, but not going to be able to do much against an Estelle warp out of nowhere. That Aerial's pickup gives Vins a lot of influence in the enemy goal box and on this game in general.
Yeah, Hamster Quest, you gotta, you can't cross clear versus the Estelle with Aerials. It sucks. It makes the game so much harder. It's why this character is so widely, like, I don't know, not loved, but rated. It's the better way to say it. It's a very highly rated character. Can get a lot done. But Twee kind of forced down this flip here, but it's going to turn into a barrier. Great punch from Zoe to confirm that. Another flip used immediately. It means a lot of low energy, but Zoe going to get flipped and possibly be able to get a goal. Wow, really cool primary into strike from Hamster Quest using the weak hit, but there's the goal from the perfect flip in the perfect spot. So Zoe gets the barrier and then gets the point, looking really good. Despite, I'm going to keep saying despite the ping. I'm sure Zoe doesn't even care at this point. Probably just so used to it that doesn't even think about it. But I just still, I always just think it's crazy that Zoe, like, I've played on the Japan servers. It's doable, but it's not that fun. So I just want to keep giving props to Zoe for that play as a dash punch is gone as well.
Yeah, dash punch that'll find a KO. That's those prize fighters finally popping off and resetting Vince's stacks. A little bit of a power play here, but Zoro manages to hold strong on the back line, and instead, it's Vince and Coin, the team with a million dashes, who will snag the first open goal box in favor of the Fools. Now looking to close out the point, Zoe and Twee looking to bring it back.
Yeah, looking to find a way to get this barrier, but Zoe's used a lot of cooldowns now, and now it's Coin and Vents in good positions to try to go for passes. Right now, Zoe trying to block the passes, along with Twee kind of changing their roles according to where the core is in a really good way, honestly. So really having good defense, but it's not going to matter with the amount of speed Coin was able to get off of the slick kicks plus max stacks. It's able to just hit that one, and Hamster Quest isn't really able to keep up. So the speed of the core, speed of the player, all adding up to a great goal from Coin, who is just, for a long time, Coin has kind of had this cool arc of, he wasn't originally a NASA starter last season, but kind of came in and brought some light to the Fools. But General Twee is going to imaginary technique hollow purple this Zoro guy off the map, and now Zoe is just going to jam it in. So now a named team finds like a way to break open through the cracks of this team of the Fools and get an unexpected 3-2. And now it's going to be really interesting to see what gets picked up. There's some really strong things. There's Orb Dancer, there's 1-2 Punch, there's Among Titans already being hovered by General Twee, which I think it's pretty possible to make it that far down. We actually see Chrono Boost picked up by Kai. Makes a lot of sense. Doesn't have the eject button to make the most use out of it, but it's still chill. That specialized training will now KO a stagger target from anywhere on the map. And Among Titans, General Twee just likes his speed. And making your brawler and your brawler that's playing goalie bigger is always a big plus as well. So we'll see if the speed from Twee with the stacks and Among Titans and playing Era can possibly take over the midfield, because that is a big win condition for this team.
Yeah, normally I'd criticize Orb Dancer dropping down so far, but actually I really like the specialized pickup there from Hamster Quest. And as Zoe manages to find a dash punch right there, we're going to get to see the kill potential of this team potentially come out. They're putting out quite a lot of damage, finding knockback KOs with the Julie. There is plenty of damage coming out, but Zoro responding with damage of his own, running up the field with the Adrenaline Rush proc, setting up a power play here with Coin and attempting to find the barrier, but will retreat back to the goal box, unsuccessful, except for taking out a lot of Hamster Quest's tools. They will finally manage to find the barrier there, and now it is a funnel from General Twee and Zoe that is unable to collapse fully on Zoro. Cleared out successfully by Vins, but a dash punch at the top of the barrier will finally find it, and it's both goals open for these teams. Core flip soon to come online for both goalies, stalling out the point just a little bit longer potentially, but the core is flying fast. Zoro has to drop the core flip right there. Hamster Quest back up against the wall, has to drop his as well. And suddenly both of these goalies left with not too many tools, especially now Zoro drops the barrage. Coin and Vins collapsing here with their dashes, but not quite able to put anything into the goal. Hamster Quest holds strong, but it's a combo of the dash and the piercing shot that will eventually put it through Hamster Quest and into the back of a named team's net.
And this is where we really see the power of Estelle's and Taro come in, especially if this Aerials now is on that double open net, where it's just way, way harder for Twee to get involved on the offense and help out, and it's also really, really hard for Zoe to find a 1v1. But this KO provides another win condition. The 1-2 punch plus 3 prize fighter stacks means now you're getting KO'd from dash punch from pretty much like anywhere on the map. Look at that punch flip. Just Vens is already about to get KO'd. If the flip is grabbed too, it's going to be even harder for Vens to kind of deal with something like that. But instead, it's just going to be this barrier found using the flip to take it. But Vens could find a goal of his own, and he does. Great flip, gets past Hamster Quest. Just playing a little bit too far forward, or maybe just didn't have a cooldown and felt the need to walk up due to the lack of cooldowns. But either way, it's a good scoring team.
Yeah, Fools are looking really strong here. I mean, they're the only ones that have been able to get their stacks off the ground besides Zoe in this set. So certainly looking good, but Zoe's going to make sure those stacks don't stay around. for too long. Manages to take out Vins there on the wall. And this power play could potentially give a named team the chance to bring this set back.
Yeah, but a little bit of a flub passing play kind of ended the power play on its own. But if they can get this barrier now, they can kind of make up for it, especially if Zoe can find another K off the damage. But Zoro walked a little bit too far forward, and now this punish is coming in hot. If Zoe can get the core, especially before this barrier's taken, hopefully, then things will look a little bit better. But there's the barrier, and now it's double open net. And like I said before, it should be a little bit scary, but Zoe is keeping control of the core. That 1-2 punch in overtime could be a big deal, but Zoro walking forward, uses the flip, but isn't able to find the goal. Now it's Twee getting up to Zoe. Twee, once again, trying to keep hitting that core to Zoe. Do your midfield job, then cover the out clear, but nothing is found. There's really nothing. Zoro's just playing up in the really good ways in order to prevent Dash Punch from taking over. But Zoe should have a spot here, and a dribble off the top gives her a great shot at the goal. Just dribble into Dash. Good combo there. 1-2 punch. Getting it done.
Zoe looking at all of the stats being at maximum. Maximum stacks on stacks, 3 stacks of prize fighter on the board, and a double barrier to start off this kickoff. Just 5 seconds to take down both of the barriers of the Fools. Coin looking to retaliate quickly, only manages to find a 1 barrier on the first pass, but is going to keep this offense up, put the backs of a named team up against the wall, but they aren't quite able to close out on it. Vins helping out in the to clear the core just for a second, manages to use the core flip to get it out, but Hamster Quest is waiting eagerly on the other side to send it back into the fray, and it's Zoe who will close out the point. A named team says, we are not out for this set, and they tie it at 2-2.
And this 1-2 punch with 3 prize fighter Julie is ridiculous. It just, you really, if you get hit by normal dash punch, you're almost dead and have to give so much respect for so much. And the KO, although there's a KO found, both barriers are taken. If Vents can find a play, it's possible to just end this before the power play even ends, but instead the Billies are going to miss. But this power play is still not really leading to anything. Just a hold from Zoro and Vens while they wait for Coin to come back is looking good, but now Coin has to score with no stacks.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to do too much to the mobility potential of Zentaro. Plenty of dashes to get around, but certainly the stacks are hurt. But Vins finds a cheeky piercing shot, and that'll claim another set for the Fools. Very tense set between those two teams. This draft could be the thing that solidifies the upper hand here. Orb Ponderer on the table here for Vins, who already has Orb Dancer, but plenty of other good things to grab.
Yeah, probably just going to go Ponder, I think. I don't think there's anything you're too worried about on Julie. Probably just going to take, like, Recovery Drone. Maybe Extra Special if you're a Psycho. I kind of think that'd be interesting. But instead, that's going to go to Kai. Not too much to take. Explosive is going to be a big denial from Coin. And Peak Performance is just a solid Awakening in general. It kind of leaves Coin with this awkward... He's grabbing another Stagger Awakening, which helps with Bulk Up with Reptile Remedy. But at the same time, you're not really... I would say you're not getting KO'd by damage, but you're not getting KO'd by damage until Zoe has, like, 2 prize fighter stacks, and then you're getting KO'd by damage. So that'll be a little bit helpful, but it doesn't even matter. While I'm talking about how much damage Zoe's doing, they're just scoring the whole game, the whole point. The whole point's just over. They just kind of ran through them at that point. So feeling good, even despite that kind of a really close set loss. They're already back on their feet and getting another point.
Yeah, Twee and Zoe are getting a lot of these beautiful collapses onto Zoro, and also collapsing Coin's body into the side of the map, finding another KO there. I mean, it's run of the day, run of the mill for Zoe Lorraine at this point, finding so many dash punches this game and plenty of barriers, but certainly a very strong offense here from a named team. And the Fools are just exploiting these little cracks in the defense when they present themselves. Vins, though, running around the map, eating plenty of orbs. They will not be able to defend the area in time, though, as Zoe and Twee are able to crack it open. But Zoe, for once, is actually looking to be a potential KO target, but instead it's Hamster Quest, who will lose his life on the wall. And this power play is a chance for the Fools to bring back the game and hopefully grab a point for this set. What a play from Coin!
Yeah, a little bit of a Borg flick from Coin. Really good one, too. That's one of the best ones I feel like I've seen in a while. Great play from Coin. Really mixed up. I think it was Twee in the Will box. I don't really remember, but Zoro actually got a Adrenaline Rush proc off of that. So good, congrats to Zoro on making that awakening work. I mean, imagine if Zoe had that awakening in this game with 1-2 punch. It might have been a bit problematic, but so good deny earlier. You can see why that was picked earlier. But now Vens is just being bullied once again by Zoe, just using that 1-2 punch plus prize fighter damage to her advantage in order to try to get this pressure on. And yeah, there's not much Vens can do against the huge Juliet just standing there. So both barriers gone. Hamster Quest doing a good job holding. Twee doing a good job holding as well. Ex-goalie player, by the way, General Twee, moved to midfield last season and has been doing a really good job on it since then. But once again, Zoe just putting so much pressure. Like Vens, even though the KO didn't happen, it was just really scary. But Vens now grabs 2 orbs, has all the cooldowns back, and is ready to mount an offense. Oh, bye-bye.
So many abilities there from Zoe. We'll finally send Coin off the map once again. And, I mean, even though Vins has been gobbling orbs the whole game, Zoro doesn't seem to have much to respond to that push in the top of the goal box. A named team making a strong set of plays at the start of this set 4.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like Vens is gobbling orbs, but Zoe's gobbling players. I'm so surprised that didn't KO. I think something weird must have happened there, like some knockback reset shenanigans. But somehow that dash punch doesn't find the KO, and now it's a really hard spot for a named team. Both barriers down. Hamster Quest will need to decide whether it's worth it to use this flip to defend this point with no barriers taken, unless Zoe can find something here. But so far, it's Twee who's breaking through the midfield, actually, and making a possible offensive opportunity possible. But Coin in the front and Zoro also coming up as well is just keeping the offense up and going, and Zoe really needs to find a barrier if they want a chance of winning this round.
Yeah, that was a lot of tools expended, though, on that offensive push, but Coin will get a nice refresh of them by securing the orb in the middle there. They will lose a barrier, but it's a missed sword angle from Hamster Quest that will claim the point, bringing the Fools up to game point on another 2-2 set.
But listen, it was a tactical reset. You look at the energy advantage the name team has. They just wanted to get back into a neutral position with their energy, which is actually not a neutral position because of their energy. It's actually an advantage state. And now they're going to use this to win chatting. But let's see if they get a barrier. There's one barrier. They have 3 flips now. Zoro's super low. Vens is super low as well. There's another flip used. Doesn't really do much, but Zoro gets hit by that primary. Now it's going to mean Zoro's could be KO'd at any moment by Zoe, but with that evade, it's going to still lose the barrier nonetheless. Now Zoe looking for a shot on this goal. The Magical Maelstrom is going to try and come in, but it's not going to do enough. Zoe trying to win a strike war on Vens. It's going to be hard on EU ping, but we'll see if it can possibly happen. Now it's Coin is the one with the flip. That's everyone's worried about. But Zoe, with this 1-2 punch, might hit the core a little bit faster than expected, but the red core is reacted to by Zoro. Now Hamster Quest has to play against Vens, but misses the strike! But Vens is not able to put it in, but a KO is instead found on Twee. That's the stacks reset even on respawn, even if they're able to hold long enough. But Coins has this flip and is not going to let it through for free. But the KO is found, but it doesn't matter because Vens is aerials and is able to cover that cross. And it's going to be a 3-1 nail biter for the Fools.
Yeah, I mean, even with the Fools coming away with 2 sets there at the end, those last 2 sets were both 2-2, and it really seemed like neither team had the upper hand throughout the entire thing. Look at these stats. Holy crap. Hamster Quest on defense so much. 251 redirects. But other than that, I mean, the stats are relatively even across the board. Zoe Lorraine really the only outlier in redirects, but making up for it with 8 KOs on the board. Plenty of damage and disgustingness coming out from those triple prize fighter 1-2 punch dash punches.
Yeah, it felt like when Zoe was able to get those power plays, it just didn't, like, it felt like the character was so strong. It felt like they were in such a good spot, but they're just never really able to fully capitalize on that build. Like, even if sometimes some of the power plays, like, I feel like most of the time they did pretty good on the power plays, but the bigger problem was, like, not even just that. It was when they weren't in the power plays and Zoe was hunting for a KO, and it felt like there should be a KO coming up, but it just wouldn't come sometimes. Which isn't like the fault of Zoe in particular. It's just how the game went and how good the Fools were at keeping the offense on the other side, or keeping the core on off their side. Yeah, like the Zoro with 50 less redirects and hamster quests, like you said, just not having to interact with the core as much just means that your team is winning the game more often, which kind of shows with Vens on this Estelle with a 20 redirect, 20 more redirects than General Chui, despite not playing the speed character. That's kind of expected to have that more core control. And I think that kind of alludes back to like that kind of the stack start. And that maybe going speed character kind of didn't benefit Chui as much as it would in a normal game where Vens doesn't just get to have that speed for free as well. But it's only game one, so still more Omega Strikers to be played.
And it looks like we'll be headed over to Night Market next. We might have only seen one team playing for some KOs and some damage that particular game, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get to see both teams opting for a little bit more of the brawling, with the walls being so much more accessible here. How do you see this playing out? Any
Um,
predictions?
I I wish I don't really remember the first draft. I don't remember what was banned or anything, but after looking at a game like that, I'm pretty interested to see how they feel about this Julie because it didn't look like something that the Fools were like ready against, I guess. Like it felt like these dash punch KOs that Zoe found were really scary. It felt um like if I was playing against that, I would not want to have to play it against it on Night Market, the map where Julie is known to be better, but it's going to be what they end up getting said. Rest in peace, Cloak Oak. You will be missed. Welcome back, Cloak Oak. Uh,
I
get back into VDO.
crashed my computer. Give me a second while I get that back online.
All right, all right. We'll have Cloak back soon, but it's chill. I'll cover it while we're gone. I've talked to the Void before by myself. Night Market. Oh, we did see the draft. It kind of disappeared, but it'll be back. Don't worry. Once we're in the player select. Oh, thank you. It's back now. Oh, here it is now. It's Ariel's Rapid Fire. Oh wait, no, you were showing last draft because you were. I was asking about it, and dude, our production is so good that I'm just a noob. But here we're already starting soon. It's Rapid Fire plus Aerials that we're looking at. So not like a crazy Julie start, which is something I would be a little worried about. Just Logan 3 calling out the tweet on Finny midfield, being too scary. I mean, it's just rapid fire start. Who knows? This is probably the only map where you can barely justify picking Finny midfield other than Demon Deus, which will be coming next week. By the way, this is the last week that we will see. I believe Taiko Temple and Imi's app. Also, last time we'll see Imi's app for the whole season. So, any NASA teams that haven't played their game yet, if you want to play Imi's app, now's your last chance. Before who knows how long it's gone for, but interested to see if we see like rapid fire and aerials. Like we could see an Era Estelle rematch, and it would be interesting to see if Estelle takes aerials or rapid and something like that. It's also just not really a favored pick on Night Market, the Estelle, although I think it's been being picked more and more lately. People just kind of realizing that, so although speed characters are really good at navigating these lanes and kind of pushing through them in the and there's like the 1v1s versus the opponent midfielder. Sometimes it doesn't really matter because they'll just get through eventually. And once he gets through, if you're the character that's playing Estelle or you're the team that's playing as Estelle, you can just kind of make more use of those less opportunities. Or
We're
maybe the
back.
same opportunities if you're just like that. But Cloak Oak is back with us. Saved. Saved. But yeah. Oh, there we go. In the cam. We've made it to the promised land.
Yeah,
Hope
I'd be surprised if we see the Estelle come back out from Vins again. It definitely seems like a little bit of a less advantageous pick on something like Night Market, but I mean it wouldn't be the first time that we've seen someone make it work, right?
yeah.
So always a chance that that we could see something fancy come out.
Yeah, I think Venz is a known era player too, especially. So That's something to look out for. We see the Luna ban. General Chui used to be known as a Luna one trick, but that kind of changed. Yeah, I kind of realizing now that this era pick from a name team is also kind of a deny from Vens. I think pretty sure that's the signature Vens character. I might have just said that. But then on Fool's side, we see Rasmus and Kai, kind of the iconic duo of the Fools of SLU is, in my eyes, Coin playing that Rasmus and Zoro playing that Kai. So we get to see that show up now on this rapid fire aerial start. Probably going to be a lot of rapid fire takes. Don't really expect any aerial takes from these specific characters, except for, hey, there's the Estelle back up again. I would actually argue you take aerials on Estelle, but I don't know if the world's ready for that. And so we'll have to see. But
Now
and then even
I'm
on Kai midfield, you
guessing
can go aerials, but
I'm
it's
guessing
goalie.
that Estelle. I don't know. Yeah, that is an Estelle midfield probably that we're
Oh, it
looking at.
is.
Fascinating.
Wait, I just got confused. Wait, yeah, you're so right.
I thought
What?
that was going to be an Estelle goalie for a
Oh no,
second, but
no,
no.
no, no. It's definitely, yeah. I got confused too. But it's Estelle. It's pretty much uh it's a lot of the same characters. The only two differences is now instead of Rasmus goalie, we have Asher goalie on Hamster Quest.
Hmm.
And on the side of the Fools, instead of Zentaro Brawler, we have Rasmus Brawler.
Yeah.
So that will be interesting. It's kind of, I wonder if the Rasmus goalie pick was also like, I don't know if it was pure comfort or if it was a bit of a deny from the other team as well. But maybe they picked Zen first. Maybe they just wanted to pick Zen. Who knows? Zen's a good character. So works out either way. But Asher, I think Rasmus is one of the few characters that's like pretty good into Asher. So Hamster Quest might have some trouble with that if Coin's able to pull off the character very well, especially if the Estelle as well. Letting the team get Estelle Rasmus in general, if you know it's something they're comfortable on, can be really scary. So I really like the draft that the Fools did this time around. But we'll have to see if it's really up to like once again, can Chui just go crazy in the midfield and can Zoe find these KOs on Juliet? And that's kind of the two goals of these teams this game.
Well, and as you predicted, Ven's the only one to go aerials out of the bunch. Everyone else opting for rapid fire. Easily one of the best awakenings in the carousel right now. The Fools putting up quite the opening offense here as they immediately take down both barriers, and Coin does get a shot on the goal. Hamster Quest is there to save it, though.
Wow.
That was a swift procession for the start of the point.
Okay, so Ven's just two crazy passes through Chui and Zoe, and then does it a third time in a different spot, and then Coin just hits that in. This is looking really scary. Also, immediately that aerials is like established. It's immediately they try to cross clear, and then Ven's just uses aerials to cover it and get the second barrier. So Ven's had a really crazy point that time, and the Ven's can just kind of keep up the midfield pressure while playing the non-speed character, which means you just get the score, which that just means you're scoring way more. So unless we can find things like that and getting the second barrier through punishes and like missed strikes, we might see another game like last one, but the scaling has just begun.
Yeah, also of note, Zoro opting for momentum boots. Not his favorite pickup on the Kai in terms of gear. Last I checked, usually opts for eject button. But probably the next best thing if you're wanting a lot of mobility and to hopefully be able to push up into the midfield. Coin, looking for worse for wear here, manages to get staggered and is finding himself just hoping to control the speed gate. Not able to do too much more, but manages to sneak in a kill there onto General Twee, and then sneak in a goal as well! I mean, that's about as much as you can hope for from a staggered perspective. It seemed like none of a named team were particularly interested in finishing off Coin and kind of expected him to stay out of the play, but instead, he took advantage of the fact that they expected him to stay back and managed to find a point there. Well played.
Oh my, Coin. Double barrier off the bat. Doesn't even need the help of Vence this time, although Vence is already there on the cross. Isn't able to quite cover it, but Zoro has his flip at any point, can really just decide that to create a really good offensive opportunity if Coin just moves up and is ready for it. But instead, Zoro, who's going to walk up and look for the glory himself, become a little bit of an egoist, but just going to hold it down. There's really not too much that can be done, but Zoro's going to get KO'd, but it doesn't matter because Coin gets the goal on the other side. And Flip is still up, so just unfortunate error at some point probably happened, but well, I'll have to see how they can make it work. I don't really like Hamster Quest taking the Pauldrons either, but I'll talk about that later. Stacks on stacks gonna be a huge priority pickup. Coin's just gonna have that be way faster than everyone else now. That's not gonna be fun. We'll have to see if one-two punch
floats.
makes it all the way down. It might just float. It's crazy. Hamster Quest didn't take it last time. Okay, this time we see it taken. The 1-2 punch is taken away as well. You have Bulk Up and Might as two great options on Julie. Bulk's going to be picked up. That could be a problem later in the game. But overall, just like a pretty mild draft, I'll say, minus the stacks. I think Coin getting these stacks could just like end the game, low key. Like if Coin's just able to build these up over and over again and doesn't get KO'd ever, then it can become a big problem for the midfield. They have to deal with this character that's just so much faster than everyone else. Especially when your goalie is playing Pauldron's Asher and doesn't have like Strike Shot or Mom Boots to help keep the core up, but Zoe gets the KO and now they're in a power play.
Yeah, these power plays haven't been guaranteed advantages for a named team here, especially as Coin manages to keep up the pressure just fine throughout that entire duration of Vince's death. Now Vince is back on the board and the power play is gone. It seems like the 2v3 defense of the Fools is incredibly strong, so even when they are at a player disadvantage, it doesn't seem to mean much.
Yeah, but hey, now that it's no longer a player disadvantage, Zoe's able to get that barrier, Twee's able to get flip. It's going to be flip for flip, but a lot of damage on the Tweez. Actually a little scary. You might need to try to get this flip out earlier than you want to initially. But instead, it's going to be past Zoe, blocked by the barrage, but the KO is found before the flip can go off. And now it's a power play for the side of the Fools this time. With two flips, they should be able to convert. That's one barrier. Here comes the flip, but can Hamster hold? He can. Back to open nets of two, one flip apiece. It should not be over. There's the flip. Great shot. Zoe, if any shot can be made from here, it's a really good look, but not really much to be found. And now it's just going to be the same story of it's just a harder team to score with in this overtime than the Rasmus Estelle. And like there we go. It's just like, how are you going to save that? What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, Coin and Vin's just repeatedly getting these 2-on-1 setups against Hamster Quest, right? There's only so many times that you have the win buttons on Asher to clear it before eventually something's going to slip through. But right off the bat, a named team are able to slip something through of their own, grab a swift first barrier, and actually force out some flips from Vin's. And then find the KO shortly thereafter. Zoe's just on a rampage here. Manages to find the second barrier as well. Flips in front of the goal line.
Wow.
Zoro somehow saves that?
I think it was last barrage pellet. I think it was last barrage pellet. I'm not sure. But Zoro's either way has to get out of the net. But Zoro doesn't even want to be in the net. It's going to get the second barrier. And then Twee, though, has the offense. It should go in, but it doesn't. Zoe not able to find a way to get that one in. And now it's Zoro playing midfield, Vence playing goalie. Vence has actually played a lot of goalie, and Coin is going to bring it through. Hamster Quest save Asher. Primary doesn't get off in time in order to block that one. Just a crazy round that really feels like a named team should have won, but instead it goes in the way of the Fools.
Look at this Coin dominance as well. A whole level above Hamster Quest, who's the highest level of a named team, and 2 levels above everyone else in the lobby, proving it once again with another double barrier. This man cannot be stopped.
They're not ready. This is when you have the Estelle to support your Rasmus, it just feels really, really good, and that's gonna just go in again. Another set ending while Hamster Quest has flip. It's just it's not looking good for a named team. It's looking a lot more rough than last round, but we'll see if there's anything in this draft to help them out, get them back in the game. Coin can either take Rampage, Reptile Remedy, or a Speed Awakening, or even Hotshot, or even deny Adrenaline Rush. Just say, like, you know what? Your only way to win is to get Adrenaline Rush. I'm going to deny it from you. But instead, Adrenaline Rush is up and should definitely be taken by Julie. Excuse me. That's going to be really strong, but a lot of people gain their biz. Hot Shot being taken, Chrono Boost on the Kai, another Dash Awakening on Estelle, so now no one is safe, and Reptile Remedy, there was a few problems with Shui getting KO'd earlier, so that'll help out as well, but everyone getting something really good. Coin getting the double stack build. If a Dash Punch happens to fall upon Coin at any point, it's going to be a lot of value with the Adrenaline Rush plus all the stacks going away from Coin, so that's going to be a big focus. If Zoe can get those, that can really turn the game around and also get some of those levels back, but that's pretty much their only win condition at this point, which is really scary because the win condition for the side of the Fools is just score, it feels like, with their better scoring composition. We'll have to see, though, if they can get these barriers, but they can't! Zoro holds! Cloak Oak.
Zoro putting up such an impressive defense this entire game. I mean, it seems like we've seen just save after save and not even really having to pump out the cooldowns to do so. And then the moment that it floats back up to Coin, Coin is just in the net going at it. He's back at it again in a 3-on-1 offense. Zoe and Twee dealing out quite a lot of damage in the process. Hamster Quest dishing in a primary to help out. Coin looking low, but it doesn't matter. Vince manages to slide it in. What can you do as a named team?
Hamster Quest has been making a few small errors that have been costing big points. I mean, it's obviously not just on Hamster Quest to win this game or anything like that. Hamster Quest has been able to hold it. That's to just deal with, it feels like, defense for most of the game, and a much harder defense to play against this composition of, again, Estelle Rasmus, like I've said before. But with this Rapid Fire plus Hot Shot, you can really hold on for a really long time. Your primary cooldown, which is so strong of an ability, it's just going to be up so often, but even if 3 flips, it feels like it's hard for this team of a named team to get any goals. So if they get, there's one barrier, but immediately a KO, and nothing reset off of that. But now you just have to play with a power play against a team that has better scoring than your own team. But there's Zoe grabbing another KO, and now the power play has been reversed, and we're looking at an even 2v2. Oh wow!
I was about to say it won't be too long until another dash punch comes out, but sadly the punch part of it manages to whiff. And Coin, though staggered, does manage to live another day.
No, not the day one, and then it's in. I don't even know how that hit it, to be honest. That was a crazy angle. It like lagged a bit on my screen. I'm gonna need to watch that one back, but just it went back and forth, and then Hamster Quest just caught out of position for the Coin hook. Just a great hook by Coin, able to get that last barrier. No one covering that pass, no one covering that barrier. Just one of the two needed to be done by someone, but doesn't end up working out. But each time Hamster Quest hits the core with primary, it does go flying. So if there's a way to mount an offense off of your goalie initiating it, this is it's now definitely possible. So that's something to look for if they want to come back in this game, but this could be the match on this point.
Well, and it's going to be big if they can actually find a KO onto Coin. This is like the 6th time that he's been staggered. They managed to find both barriers instead, a lovely consolation prize, which might grant them a point, grant them another go at it. Coin, though, getting plenty of other goes at those barriers. Unable to find it this time as Hamster Quest is able to hold, and Coin will retreat for an orb instead. Zoro, Vins on the back line, managed to find a clear around Zoe. But it won't be too long before another offense comes up, spurred onward by General Twee's Era Speed. I mean, Night Market, back and forth, the ping-pong map of the century. What else can you say? Hamster Quest and Coin going at it on the other side of the field. But neither one of them making too much progress on each other. Instead, it's flips coming online for all 3 members of a named team here very shortly. Zoro likely forced to use it here, but gets stunned by Zoe in the goal box. And it's Twee's core flip that will find the first point in a long time for a named team.
Perfect sync from those 2 forwards of a named team. Really cool play, cool highlight, cool clip. Really great stun. But now here's the power of Era. You kind of get if your ult hits it just the right way, you basically get a free barrier every time. But it didn't catch it in just the way they wanted. So now it's going to be Coin who has the offense instead. But Zoe has dash punch flip. So you gotta be scared if you're anyone. Like, Vance is in a scary spot right now. But Zoe not really finding anything. Might be saving this for something else, for something more reliable like a barrier, but might get KO'd for it instead. is able to get one barrier off of it, but now has to retreat in order to get some orbs. But more of a slower point at this point. We'll have to see if anything develops, but
yeah, well, it's definitely unfortunate if Zoe and Twee have to come back for those orbs because they're so valuable to Hamster Quest, who has the Orb Dancer on his side. But now that they're back both in commission, they'll be able to set up a strong funnel and find that barrier. Suddenly a named team looking like they're not out of it, controlling the speed gate like crazy and putting up offenses left and right. It's Zoe who will win a strike war and tie up the set. A named team is hanging on for just a little while longer.
Yeah, critical strike war win, and once again, Zoe's on 1 billion ping and still wins that strike war. This crazy play coming around, but this team is still alive. They're still making it work. Dash Punch is not going to find the KO, which means that cooldown's going to be offline for quite a bit. But if anyone's going to be able to hold it, it's Rapid Fire Hotshot Asher. But Twee might get KO'd again. He's able to live just a little bit of HP. Ven's secondary is not going to hit Twee. Going to slightly miss it. Might have even like hit the core or something. So Twee bailed out a little bit. Has that Reptile Remedy to heal up. And this gets an orb as well. So now the energy advantage is pretty close, but I would say it's a little bit in the side of the named teams. So if they can use these flips well, something good could happen, but the first one does not go anywhere. Now Cloco gets just one barrier taken after 45 seconds apiece. What goes on from here?
Yeah, I mean, we do have 6 Rampage stacks in favor of Coin and max stacks on stacks looking up. That is a speedy and ginormous Rasmus up in the face of Hamster Quest, and all that he can do is frantically strike, core flip, strike. Manages to clear it for just a brief moment, but Coin waiting hungrily for another opportunity. Zoro sends it back up the map with that 1-2 punch. Walks up with the core flip, but Zoe will slow down Zoro with the Flame Flurry. Unable to find anything with the core flip there from Zoro. Zoe holding on to flip, hopefully looking to close something out, but Coin will hook Hamster Quest out of the way! That's game 2 and the series floating over to the Fools. Coin demonstrating dominance throughout that entire match. The only level 10 in the lobby, demonstrating by Rasmus is his signature character, and you really cannot let that man get a hold of it. Ending the match with 7 Rampage stacks. I mean, what is that? 45, 50, 60% size almost on that Rasmus?
Yeah, a
absolutely
game like
insane.
That, this makes you want to question the era priority. Picked really early in that draft and then just gave up the Rasmus and the Kai. And pretty much guarantees your Estelle as well because they've already picked their midfielder and there's no way they're going to pick Era Estelle in any world. So you pretty much got your whole comp on red side after the Era was picked, and it's exactly what they wanted. So didn't go great for a name team in that regard, but honestly, I don't think Zoe is even starting for this team as kind of a sub now anymore. I could be wrong, but I was impressed with a lot of plays Zoe's able to get done in that series, despite being EU. I think there's a lot of ways this team can go. I think there's a lot. I think Hamster Quest is a solid player and will be able to develop more as a goalie as the season goes on as well. Unless they already have one win on their belt, they're not in a terrible position to make themselves playoff contenders later in the season. But the Fools have been on a bit of a run, or not. I mean, they're one of the 2-1 teams, looking pretty good, looking very solid, having also a win, beating Doggo.Dog and only losing to Chatting, who are generally seen to be a pretty strong team.
Yeah, certainly. I think that series demonstrates 2 critical things. So, I mean, you talked about eventually a named team developing into a strong playoff team. I think that we already see like the direction that they're growing in. Hamster Quest, like you said, already very strong on the back line. I think that the moment that there's some midfield and goalie synergy there between Twee and Hamster Quest, there's going to be like significantly more solid holds, and like the barriers aren't going to be falling down nearly as fast. And then Twee was already putting up so much offensive pressure. Like Twee on offense was, I was really impressed with how much Twee was getting into the mix. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we get to see a named team really go forward in the playoffs. And the Fools, I mean, just demonstrating their general prowess as a team and individual players. All three of them just absolutely dominating every second of those matches. Some really, really impressive stuff from them.
Yeah, whenever they got their offense going, it felt pretty unstoppable, especially I think like just the coins Vens combo looked really good, and the Zoro Vens combo also looked good. So when you have all that going, your just team looks really cohesive. It's really hard to beat. Even though a lot of points went to set 5, it looked really good. And when things were looking like really, really good for the side of a name team, it just felt like the Fools had like an extra life in them that they could just pull out at any time and just find a way to somehow win these impossible points just through like their trust in each other and like good strike timings off of each other on defense and just correct midfield coverage while Coin just would go crazy on the enemy goalie. So yeah, the Fools, a team that's been on the up and up. So keep your
Not
eyes
looking
on
so
them.
foolish today.
Not quite, not quite. But that's I think that's the last match of the day that's on stream. Hopefully we'll be able to raid the next match if one of the teams is streaming it. Let's who else is playing today? I'm going to pull it
Yeah, what do
up.
we have to look forward to? I
That's
have it.
PLX versus Dragon Bite. PLX, I'm a big fan of this team. People might know this. I used to be on PLX the entirety of last season. And they are looking good up to their 2-0 start and looking to get another win on Dragon Bite, which is a very interesting roster because they did qualify with a different goalie than the one they have now. But now they have Ayalira, who's been showing up pretty good, especially in the first week when they got their win. But Striker Kai and Ashley Bird was just like a known, pretty strong duo that is pretty. It's interesting to deal with because of how their character picks work. I'm not sure if they've changed since like or what they pick, what Dragon Bite picks as a team anymore, but it used to be this weird scenario where Ashley Bird only could play like Zentaro, I think. And if you ban
Mhm.
Zentaro, then they'd have to like play Striker Kai Brawler or something. So we'll see how that team's developed because Ayalira is also an up goalie. So a lot of interesting things to watch there. Also Ayalira Diamond inclusive, X Diamond inclusive playing against Platinum exclusive. So little mini storyline there for you, but I don't know if it'll be streamed or not. Hopefully it will. I hope all of the matches are streamed. But I think that will be it from us. Other than that,
Yeah, I had a fantastic time casting with you, Fudgy. As always, you're always a super duper fun co-caster. And some very fun matches today. Some crazy exciting plays, players getting to show off their prowess. If we can find a good raid for the future matches of the rest of today, of course we'll be sending you over there. But other than that, I think I think that we've said all that there is to said. We've yapped all that there is to yap. Have a wonderful rest of y'all's day.
yep. Bye bye.
Bye.